the FPS series, and in this video we are going to set up some pistols. So to allow pistols to work without flare, we also need to have some different animations, as the pistol has a slightly different action and the way he catches it. Of course the IK is going to override them. So to start off, we're going to have to go to Miximo here and search for pistol idle. You can get this one right here, and then when you press download you can set it to with skin, because I don't know, something was wrong with without skin. And then you can set this to Unity and 60 frames, and then hit download. So it's gonna go in there and just download that for me. So once it's done, get here in the scan folder, you're gonna receive this FBX file, and we can just go to the rig, set it to humanoid, apply, and then we can go to the animation tab, and here set this to original. Yeah, that should do it. Make sure to hit loop time as well. So now we can see that everything seems okay. However, let's just quickly duplicate it and take it out of here, so we can delete the FBX, and that should be it. Alright, save the project. So now we have the animation. It is time to actually make use of it. So let's go to the player model, go into the animator controller. Earlier we created another layer, but we don't need that because we're just going to make one layer for the upper body, and that's going to contain all the weapons states. So right away we have reloading, we have rifle aiming. So to actually fix this issue of having two different, we can actually just create a new blend tree. We can call this blend tree our weapon type. Then we can go inside and rename it as well, weapon type. It's one-dimensional. We can add 3 motion fields, just 2 for now. Later on we'll have knives, so that's gonna help. We can set this to 0 and 1. We can start by passing in the rifle aiming idle, as that's the default, and then pistol idle. So if we actually change this to Z, which is not the correct value, we just need to go in here, add a new float parameter. This float parameter is gonna be called the weapon type. It's gonna be 1 if the type is pistol, and it's not going to be 1, it's going to be 0 otherwise. So we can set this now to weapon type. We can drag this slightly above, save the project again. Sorry, no need to open the project. Save the project, and now we have the animation set up here, so you can see different animations swiping with each other. If you look at rifle aiming idle, it is set to body orientation. If you set this to original, now let's have a look at the differences. So just to make sure everything's working, we're gonna play and see, because I just want to find something in the rifle aiming idle. So let's see, everything seems okay. Yep, my new weapons there as well. You can pick up many other, set them up already, and I did show that how you should set them up. Like 2 of them are done and 2 you have to do on your own. So yeah, everything seems to be alright. Now if you go back in animator, we can now make use of this weapon type. So we can just rename this to weapon idle type or something like that. Now we can see this nice transition. We can make our own transition to this one. It says has exit time, it's set to has exit time as well. And in here you can see it's not set to a fixed duration for some reason. So change this and set to 0.7. So now let's have a look, and yep, so pretty much okay. Alright, fine. Yeah, thing looks same. Yep. We can now delete the states, and we can set this one to the layer default state. This is the new reloading one. The idle of the weapon. So we have this nice float that's gonna help us with this. So right away we can now start by making a pistol. Alright, so let's create a pistol. We move on to our models folder in the guns. In the guns we can find a lot of pistols. So the first one is looking too ancient, so I'm not going to be using this one. Then we have this one here, and this one seems like I should use it, so it looks pretty okay, nothing that bad about it. And then we have another one which also looks pretty okay, and then we have this one which doesn't look that great. So I'm going to go with 2 of these. This is pistol 2 and pistol 3. So we can just rename this one to the pistol, just pistol, because we want to use it right now. So we can now actually get the actual name of this weapon, and I think this weapon's name is, I'm just gonna give it my own. It has a very long name actually, so I'm just gonna call it AA100 because it's actually Astra A100, so I'm gonna go with AA100, and then I'm gonna actually have to strike this in the scene. Yeah, so we're gonna have to make use of Blender again, and we're gonna have to import this, get the revolving pin or whatever. I think this is a whole object on top. This might be the thing, I don't know. So yeah, we're gonna go into Blender, and right now we just have a weapon which is also unscaled correctly, which is scaled incorrectly. So let's just delete this out of the scene, and let's actually import this into Blender. I think that these weapons are quite underrated, and we're gonna have many issues. So getting the mag, it was easy for rifles because they were visible and we could just chop them out, but it's gonna be really hard for these pistols. Like, these pistols are quite hard to be used. They're just not so hard to get a mag for that one. So what we're gonna do instead is use some new assets. So, well, I found 2 different assets which make it quite easy. So we can see this one, and it's called Pistol 92. It's free, Star Games Studio. Just added 2 assets, and then we also have PM40 gun, which is also free. So that's by somebody named Helika. Alright, and these 2 seem different weapons, and I think I know the names of both of these, so let's go in, because it's already told. However, this one, I don't think it's called Pistol 92, it's just named like that. So let's actually get it in there. We're still gonna call it A100. So let's move to the package manager, and in here we can actually first import this one. So just make sure to download it, and then you can import this. So now one thing I have to do here is, as I just want the actual mesh that is the gun, so I can actually just remove this, and yeah, so close the scenes. I don't need any prefabs and any environments. Then this is actually the materials, so we're gonna keep the variants on, turn on the desk, and that should be it. So import it, and it's imported. So now we can get the other one, which is named Pistol 92. Refreshing the assets, come on, got it. Import this one after downloading it, and in here as well. So we've got kind of different ones. You just turn off the scene. Okay, we'll just check them out later. And I think it's imported really quick. So now let's actually look for these folders. So right away we can see Pistol 92 is missing. Well, actually I don't know why, but somehow this package just comes and imports itself into scenes. Just drag it back out, so we don't want that in there. Now we can actually make use of this weapon. So you can see we have this weapon, and then we have materials. So we haven't imported the prefabs, so I would like to do that, just so I can get some use of those. I quite forgot that. PM, and we can import it. Let's import, and now it's automatically let's just import the whole thing, forget about everything else. We can delete the things we don't need later on. So right here you can see we can just delete this one, delete, and then in the prefabs now we can choose. However, it's all pink in color, so we need to actually just change the materials to URP. Select and select it. Select this one. Nobody cares about the desk because we don't need it, and that should be pretty much cool. Just delete all the useless stuff. Now we can go to the prefabs folder. We made some weapons for us already, so I'm actually gonna go with this variant, one of these. So I think this one looks more nicer, so I'm gonna be using this one. Drag this into the scene, and we're gonna notice it's terribly big in size, and that's not what I wanted. So let's just reset the rotation on all axes, and that's how the weapon looks. Really bad. That's terrible. So now what we need to do is fix this small issue that we're facing. So find the actual mesh. If you go here, I know that we need to set this to well, let's first test out with the direct setter. So if you just set this to something like that, if you set this to 1, we have this big thing here, and then we can just scale this, like divide it by 500, we get something like this, I think. So this looks really more better, and this looks like it's the real scale. Oh well, it isn't. One more time. Now this looks more better. So this looks like the one that I'm looking for, size. Now I always hate modifying this scale like this, so instead what I'm going to do is basically modify the direct thing. So basically just want to modify the actual mesh from the importer scale factor. So what we need to do is come here, well, and then get your calculator, open that up, and then from here we can actually just do some calculations. So I know the divider is 500, and just to confirm, let's divide it by the scale we actually did. Copy this, we can actually paste this in here, we get 500. So all the things that we need to fix according to this mesh has to be divided by 500. So just get this one, paste in here, divided by 500. We're able to copy it, paste it back in here, and then we can actually just save that, and you'll see how it gets become really tiny. It's not even visible, I think. Yeah. Oh man, that's so tiny. Then we can just set this back to 1. So now we'll see a few bugs. So first of all, things that are movable and different objects have all gone vanishing except for the main body. To fix this, we're gonna have to do this like this. So we're gonna pass this in here, do some math, divided by 500 again. That's where 500 is using now. Because we changed the scale by 500 division, we'll have to do that as well. So just get it from here, paste, divide by 500, copy that, paste in here again, copy this one, and this is gonna get the mag into position as soon as I assign it, and ta-da! So we have just positioned the magazine correctly, but we still have to do much more. So just close that, paste, divide by 500, copy, paste, copy, come back in here, divide by 500, and again copy it, then come back here, paste again. I'm going to actually have to do this with all of the 4 different objects that are under the parent of this. Alright, just paste a new one, and almost done. So just one more object after this one, and then divide by 500, copy again, come back in here, copy this y-axis, paste, divide by 500, copy this as well, paste, copy, and yeah, I think we're almost done. So top trigger, now the trigger itself, so the main trigger, whatever you want to call it, divided by 500, copy that, can come paste it back in here, copy, come on, then again copy this, come back here, paste. It's quite a tiring thing. I mean, it would be nice to do them all together, but maybe Unity can make some special math calculator in there, whatever you want to call it. So now we have everything done. So I think the name of this weapon is PM40, and I'm just going to keep it PM40 weapon. Thank you very much. Okay, let's actually begin constructing the weapon. So we haven't actually made the weapon yet. I mean, this is really just the prefab provided by them. So right away we'll see a small bug. So if you drag this weapon outside, this one uses -50, but let's just Command Z that. This weapon is actually tilted that way, its forward is messed up. So to fix this, we can set this to center and just actually rotate it normally as we would. I'm not sure what just happened here. So we can't do that actually. It's like we can't do that. I know what I'm gonna do. Just gonna rotate the mesh, and that's gonna fix it. So because this is not correctly done, we can do that now. So let's just start by duplicating another weapon, as we always have to do. Then we can actually rename this one to PM40. We can name this one PM40, and then in the weapon script we need to assign the correct SO. Duplicate that. This is actually PM40, and then because it's not a rifle anymore, it's a pistol, the name is PM40. You can add a dash in between if you want. And these settings I'm gonna do after we've actually got this whole system set up. So that's after we got the animations, everything working. We're gonna modify these to the preferred values. So now we have 2 stupid prefabs here. So we need to delete one of them, otherwise we're gonna have to do something else. So let's just turn off this weapon for now, and currently it's set to for mass body, and we know that this is the MP40 body. We can just assign this like this, so I mean that's gonna fix everything. Of course we can still see some small bugs here. Now what I was talking about is gonna work, so we can actually just set the y-axis to 180 and then set this to -90. However, it looks like the textures are slightly odd and they look really disgusting here. I'm not sure why that happened. Let me just drag the prefab out again. So if I just drag the prefab out, if you focus on it, is the texture like that? It's become a mini controller, like mini weapon, like, you know, mini. And now we can't even see it. So where's the magazine? There's the actual trigger, top. This is okay except for the body itself. So I'm not sure where the body itself is. It's over there. Well, this isn't messed up. So I'm not sure what's wrong. What's the problem here? I think this is how it is. So let's just position the rest of the things. Maybe it'll look better then. I don't know if the texture is actually bad or not. Like, it doesn't look like it should be like this. Oh, fine, forget it. Let's just actually assign the things. So let's just remove this variant, and now we can modify this to swap PM-40. We've got everything correctly assigned. Still not assigned the correct, so 5 point and everything else should be okay, except that the mag is no. Why is it giving a prefab sign? Sure. Mag ain't the prefab. Okay, fine. So now we need to actually get the right objects in here, and that's actually gonna be copied from this area. So we can just copy this magazine in here, copy, and I'm just gonna actually look at this so I can see this is the actual magazine. So if we go to the mag parent magazine, and we can just drag this in here. However, it won't help because that's gonna not come correctly. Then we can move. Now this should be 0. Well, it isn't 0. Well, we can just go to the magazine and copy the component, paste it on top of the mag parent instead. So just paste, and the magazine is in place. So we have some other object now finally placed in the weapon correctly. Alright, so the next thing to add is going to be the receiver now. Well, whatever it is. Maybe it's the place where the bullet's gonna snap out from. We still haven't added that, so we're gonna add that later on. Let's just copy this using the copy, and then let's paste it as a child, and that positions it correctly. So second, we can actually select the actual reloading pin, copy that, and paste it as child. Now by doing this, I actually destroyed the animation system slightly, so I can just delete it again, find the reloading pin, and instead just assign the correct mesh. So on the top it's set to MP40 top. You can select the reloadable pin, assign the pin, and I haven't actually assigned the material correctly yet. It's all assigned to one material named this one. So set this one up like this, and then we can actually just select the reloading pin, assign the variant again. I think I didn't assign it here either. I actually assigned the wrong one. So that means that in this weapon, if you check this one's mag, it's assigned to the AK-47 material. So let's just fix that. I mean, these small mistakes do make a mistake. We need to assign this correctly, enable it just to apply the prefab things correctly, and then again close it so we can just uncheck it. Other small fix, I mean, I made a mistake, maybe you did as well, just to make sure not to do that one. Let's just put this at the top. Now I don't know what this is called. I'll call this the mid. PM40 mid. Just call it the receiver. I think it's where the bullet comes and then snaps out. Okay. Now we need to just unpack this prefab because this is the wrong prefab that we are trying to modify. So that's pretty much what we want to do. And we still haven't put the top in the correct position. So if you check out the reloading pin, it's in the wrong position. You can just copy the top, copy its component, and move on to the PM, the actual reloadable pin, pasting it inside, and there you are. So we have done the whole weapon except the trigger. So to do the trigger, we're just gonna copy it from here and paste this out. So we have the trigger now, and PM40 trigger. That should be the trigger at the top as well with its other PM40 thingy. Alright, so it's actually time to do some setup for the weapon, like getting the correct animation working for pistols, which we haven't actually done. So before we do that, we just clear up our whole project files and remove all these extra folders we just installed. So we will do, this pistol you guys can do on your own after I've showed how to do one. I don't think I need to do every one of the weapon, but you guys have to do it with me. But it's a better idea to get you to do it on your own, so you can test your knowledge. Now, set this to pivot, because I'll need that later when we're doing the animation. And let's delete some stuff. So right away, I think this has a problem and doesn't look good to me. That's because the mesh is assigned to this material, and the rest of them are assigned to PM40 variant 2. So I knew that it was wrong. So there you are, everything's okay. So now, if we make a new folder for this weapon, we can call it the PM40, and let's quickly put the materials in there. So I'm going to use variant 3 as mine. You can choose whichever you want, whichever variant looks best to you. PM40 material, animate, and we have the material done. Then we can quickly go into the textures, weapons again, create a new folder. This is again PM40. And then this is the variant, mistake. I actually meant to do this, like this, so PM40, diffuse, that's what I like to call it. Now, I don't even know what it's assigned to, so let me just quickly find the materials folder, weapons, not this one, this one. This is the base map, this is the metallic map, so I'm just gonna copy this one here, sorry about that again. Rename it, so this is the metallic map, so we can call this the metallic map. Then we can again rename it, this is the normal. We can come down and call it the normal. So then we just continue to do the emission, and move on to the final one, which is assigned as the occlusion. I'm not sure why I need it as well. So we're just gonna call that the occlusion, whatever it is. Let's just check it again. So yeah, that's how it's named. And pretty much done with the fixing of the names. Just drag this directly into this folder here. I think we're safe to now right click and delete that folder of the actual maker of this. However, we did not take the mesh, so I almost forget that. PM40 mesh. Okay, thank you. We're getting some stupid error. We don't need that. We don't need to care about it at all, because it's very useless. Create a new folder, quick one. This folder can be called the PM40, and then drag in the mesh, and let's begin deleting all the 4 useless pistols. And we're gonna look at these sniper and things later on. However, I'm pretty sure that both snipers are useless, so I'm again gonna have to import a better sniper in this game. So I'm gonna delete that as well. And then in the SMGs, there's only one that I really care about, so I don't like this one at all. It doesn't look good to me. Well, of course it matters to you. If it does, you can make use of it. So, but I'm gonna just take this one weapon, so this means I can delete this one. And then for the shotguns, both the shotguns aren't done nicely. They really aren't done nicely by the modeler, designer, whatever he was. The one who made the pistol is really good. He gives separate objects, so I like that, but this is not good. So that's pretty much, the folders to delete. And now I'm pretty sure that I can just go up here and say delete to this folder. Delete. Alright, and we get an error. Delete the red colored prefab as well. And yep, so yeah, we just got the weapon set up. Of course, there are some issues right now that will occur if you try to press play mode, which it won't just work because it's not set up correctly still. Right. But I do think that we can actually scale it slightly more lower than this. So if you get the guns in the PM40, I'm really not sure. This is another small mistake by the modeler. So we can set this to the half of this is 0.001, so apply it. It destroys everything, so we don't want to do that then. However, if you set this to 1.5, it does look better, but no. Keep it a bit fat. It's okay, so if you apply it, the weapon looks slightly fatter, but I think it's okay. Yeah, it looks okay to me. Alright, mesh, done. And now what we're gonna do next is basically getting the actual player to actually understand the pistol. Code right now doesn't work on the pistol only, because if we just quickly give this weapon a trial, let's just give it a quick trial. Let's go to the gun holder, gun sway, assign this weapon down here, put this here, drag this one outside, and quickly just going to do the testing. And yep, let's hit the play button. So now what we need to do here is we need to actually get the animator done. I change this from our code. Let's move on to the script. I think we have the animator somewhere in here. If we go into the handle animator function, that's where we can modify the float. So let's just add a comment. So we can say basically that this is basically weapon type, so weapon type, and then we can say player animator dot set float. So we're gonna set the float, and this float's name, just copy it. Let me just copy this one and then paste as a string. It wants the float value. So in the float value, we need to pass in 1 or 0 depending on a condition. So I think we have done this before as well. So if you check this one up here, let me just take this like this, and if I just paste this in here, are we able to use a short F or not? I'm not sure. So basically we need to check the current weapon dot type, not the current weapon, dot weapon type, weapon data dot weapon type dot rifle is equal to rifle dot rifle. Then we want it to be 0, otherwise 1. So let's actually have a look at how this works. Now I'm hoping that this should like basically set this to 1 if it's pistol. That's actually, one thing you still need to do is basically, I have just put that in as a child. That was done already. And then what you need to do is assign the targets. So here we assign the left hand IK target of this weapon, for the right hand IK as well. So now if I hit play, we just put this over here. We should see this to go to 1 if my statement is correct. So let's have a look, and yes, it does. However, if we go into my assets in the structural objects, if I set this to rifle, it should go back to 0. So there you are, it goes back to 0. And that's pretty useful. Alright, that's the first thing done. The animator is now going to play the pistol animation instead. So now one more fix is the pistol will have different positions inside the gun sway. So that would mean that we can't actually just child every weapon in this place. So we need to create a new empty game object, and this one's going to be called the rifle holder, and then we can make another one, and this one can be the pistol holder. So pistol holder holder and rifle holder. And then we also need a reference from our script. If we just check up on the player, we have set up a gun holder, I think, and it's set to gun holder directly, and the gun sway is set to gun sway. If we find this inside the weapon section, so here we can find all references, and we'll see that this one is actually used to assign the child and parent stuff. So now that is not gonna work anymore, because if the swapped weapon is a pistol, it will not work. So what we need to now do is, instead of setting the parents like this, all we need to do is change some code. First thing to add is a simple if, and then we need to check if the new weapon, well, actually we need to do one small change as well. Basically, we won't allow pistols to be changed with rifles or rifles to be changed with pistols. All is allowed is when they both are same. So for that we need to move into the player interactions place, where we check if it's an interactable. I think I do not know if this was actually written new. I think so. If we can't, yeah, so you can add this code if it's not with you already. Basically what this code here is doing is, if it does get the weapon, if it does so, and it is equal to our own weapon, then we don't want to enable it at all, and we return right away. So this is needed. I quite forgot about it, but make sure to add this code to fix the interaction issue. Basically, when you're actually holding your weapon, sometimes the interaction comes up, and that's not okay. So that's one condition. Let's add one more. So let's add else if hit dot transform. So try get component, again try get component, and again it's going to be out weapon, and that's going to be the interactable weapon. Alright, so if that is so, then also we also want that the just add the braces. I'm not sure why it's becoming red so much, but anyway, I think it wants me to make use of it. So basically now, if that weapon type is equal to that, we want to do the same thing. So if the interactable weapon type, weapon data dot weapon type is not equal to the current weapon dot weapon type. If that is so, I'm not sure I'm still getting this error, and the reason is we already declared it, so we can just make another one like this, or maybe we can say, what do I do here? I don't want to use the same one from there. I'm just gonna return, didn't show the interact bar either. Alright. Then we can just put this one a little down so it looks better. Alright, now we can just fix this error by changing the name slightly. So what I'm gonna do is just remove the weapon. So let it just modify it after checking from this one. Okay, now this is gonna prevent the weapon from showing the interaction at all, and because of that, it also won't check for the input, which is gonna fix our issue. So far so good. Now let's move back to the player weapon issue layer. Where is it? So where do we actually, no, this is not the place. I think it's here, right? Swap weapon. So we still need to fix this problem. So we can simply add an if new weapon. If the new weapon is basically, well, I could actually do this in some other place. I don't want to do it here. I mean, there needs to be somewhere. Handle shooting, handling, the handle weapon clipping. Basically, let's just reload the script first. What we want here is that if it's a pistol, then it should be childed to the pistol holder, and we currently don't have a reference to it. So what we need to check is if the new weapon dot weapon data weapon type is equal to a pistol if that is true, then we want to do a completely different thing. So we're going to do this, else, just add rifle back in there, and we can add else if new weapon, if the new weapon dot weapon data dot weapon type is equal to pistol dot pistol, then we want to do a different thing. So now we need a reference. Let's go back up here and define some more of these. First one is going to be the rifle holder, and then we can have the pistol holder. And if you go down here, we can change some things. So first of all, we want to child this to the rifle holder. We can copy this, paste, and then secondly, we also want to change this one to the pistol holder if it's a pistol. And later on, if we have a knife, we're gonna have it. So we'll have to change this even more, slightly more. So now, if we go back in here, I think we have fixed the swapping system. We can close this out. Now what we need to do is basically fix the spine problem. So currently the spine is oriented at 50, but for pistol we don't want that. So let's just hit the play button to have a look. First of all, let's position the pistol holder and assign it in the player. So we can go down here, you should see 2 new transforms available. Assign the new one and the pistol holder as well. Hitting play button. Okay, oops, sorry about that. Now our camera is not in a good position, of course, because his hands are wobbling here and there. So the first thing to do was to come out of play mode and assign this in as a child of this one, so we can modify the pistol holder. I'm just gonna come here and scene, set it to global and pivot. We can select the pistol holder, and I think the pistol should be somewhat there, but it's not positioning correctly. So basically that's because of the rigs, and our rigs have got an offset of 50 and they're immodifiable. Well, this one is modifiable. We'll leave that one there, but this one still needs to be modified, and we have a script that actually modifies this offsets for some reason. And now if we just go to this place here, we'll see what I'm talking about. This is actually modified in the handle weapon clipping, I think. So let's quickly go there faster and open up this method. You're gonna find that it's a bit of a mess, but not really. It's smaller. So in here we have the clamping going on. We assign these to a new vector 3. Yeah, of course. Then spine to constraint is actually set over here, here, and here, and here as well. So now all we need to do is add some more ifs. Basically, this is currently set to 0. This is set to 0 always, and yeah, it looks like it's being set to 0 whenever the projector has got clipped. Okay, and then we set this again to 0 if the same thing is still true. Then it's set back to 50. Now we don't want it to be 50 at all times, so instead what we need to do here is quite simple. We can add our question mark statement that we added. Where did we add that? I think it was in the handle animator. We can just bring in this one here and make use of it again. So if we just come down here, that's okay to be 0, but as soon as we modify 50, that's not okay. Now instead, if this is a rifle, it has to be 50 F, and if it's a pistol, it has to be 0 F. Similarly, we can again copy this from here and then simply paste it in here. So that should be it. Now if we move back to Unity, we should see the offset actually being modified. We modify the spine, oh yes, spine 2, and yep, so we can see the difference. I think it's trying to go to 0, but it is kind of 0, so if I just set it to 0, it will not go anywhere. That's what 0 is like, so you can see Now if I quickly go back to my displays and I set this to rifle, you will see how it's going to suddenly change it and the animation changes. Everything is now working. Setting the pistol, change the animation, and it's pointing that way. So now we need to fix this direction. Basically, let's get out of play mode, save the project first, because we've done quite a lot now. And let's actually begin doing the, again, mistakes. So I need to come here, then come back here in the scene, select something before it actually takes some input. Now what we need to fix is the direction and the positioning and the IK hands. So we need to first rotate this at 50, I think. 50 is the correct value. I think so. Yep, 50 was correct. And then if we drag it into the center point. So now how do we get the center point? We can come in here and copy the world transform for this one and just paste it to the pistol holder. So that will give us the exact rotation as well, which is 50. And now we can just reset the y-axis, because that's what is the problem, causing its hands to go like that. I think that's where our weapon should look to go. Now before I actually overstretch his hands, what we need to first fix is position the hand IKs. So let's go to the hand IK. Let's find this right hand and let's just hit reset on it. Reset. It doesn't work. We need to turn off the animator to stop overriding our transforms. I don't know why this happens, but it does happen. So just to do that, we can do this. And then if you focus on it again, we can just drag this backwards. So that way, sideways, and we can now rotate this on this angle. So just rotate this way, alright? And 90 on that axis. And as we always do with our weapons, just put it where it looks best. So I think we also need a bit of angle on that side. I think that way. So if we just snap once there. Or maybe I need to remove this from blocking my view. It's like really disturbing. And you're just trying to put one of them in there. So I'll set this to -15. And then I'm going to just put the hand to where it's looking okay. So somewhere there. That looks pretty good to me. So now what I can do is just copy the components. Now we can't copy this right now, so we'll do that later. First let's just set the IK so we can actually have a better view of what we're doing. So again, we're gonna go quickly here. Then we need to go back to player and copy its world transform, paste it onto the pistol holder, and then we can come back to the pistol holder, reset the y-axis, the z-axis, and then pull it slightly ahead. Well, we just made a mistake, so if we just do Command Z, it's actually not what we're looking for. We're modifying two of them together, so that means we can't actually just do that. Okay, and if we outstretch his hand, it's going pretty long now. That's how pistol should be held. We drag it slightly lower. And I know the camera is also slightly messed up, but we'll fix that, don't worry. Now if we go to the left hand, okay, so now it's time for the left hand instead. Turn off the animator, troubling us again. And in here we can bring it to the targets. Let's just hit reset first, so it stops messing about. Now drag it backwards, slightly on the left side. And I think what we can do here is just copy this one and then invert it on that one, because it's really just has to catch it on the opposite side. So now it's trying to catch him that way. What we can do is just invert every rotation to -90. And then we can just drag this here. So now it's the exact opposite of that one. But of course it's slightly different, so we will have to modify things like this. This one has to be lower, then it has to be the side of it. Also needs to be rotated on this axis lesser. So okay, so that makes sense. we can copy the component again, and then come out, paste, go to values. So we're done with the IK, and now we need to just position the pistol holder correctly, which is not going to take a lot of time because I'm going to do it quite fast. Copy the world transform, come in here, paste the world transform, and then just have to reset the y-axis, select the actual z-axis from the axes, and that should give us a nice result. I think the head is slightly misaligned. Yeah, it looks like so. We can just make some fine tunings and tune it to where it looks best. So now what we need to do is copy the component again and just come out, paste the component values. Now what we need to fix here is the camera positioning and all that stuff. So what we need to do is quite simple now. If we press play, and let's just do a bit of tests just to see what goes on right now. So right away our gun snaps on that side. That's because, let's look at our nice sword. So we can see we can move out. If I come near this one, you can see what happens. So he's blocking his weapon. Of course it's not correctly done because it's a pistol, not a rifle. So now what we're gonna do is allow the every weapon is gonna have its own clip projecting position, and every weapon is gonna choose its own boxcar size and everything else. Let's just quickly check if we come near any of those rifles, are we able to swap with it or not? So let's come near one of these guys, and clearly we can see we're not allowed to do that. It's good. And if I quickly select my pistol and just put one more there somewhere. If I just go up here and hit copy, and then I can select this one here and paste as child. Where is it gone? It's at 0 position. Let's just copy the R18 position. Quick testing please. So just paste it in there, and then just put it wherever you like. Just check what's going on. So it's right, and there you are. So we can swap with pistols, and if we do swap, everything's okay. So that's pretty good. Now all our weapons in the next part will be able to change the clip projector position and the boxcar sizes. We also need to change the icons, correctly set them up for the PM40, but that we're gonna do in the next video because it's become quite long. And thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe.